Okay, we're on. How's everybody? Welcome back. This is number 4, part 2, because we did do number 4 first, but it was a bit of a disaster. It was actually a hot mess, mainly because of my fault. So
it wasn't your fault. It was just a hot mess all around, and it was
a hard, busy week, and also I knocked a ton of cards over in the middle of it, and
that was pretty funny though.
It was like a waterfall.
That was funny.
And I had Kira getting up every 2 minutes as well because I hadn't got any of my stuff ready. Anyway, so we're redoing it. Also, we realized it was far too big to do a divination series or a divination video in one video. So we're going to do it in 2 parts. This is part 1. 0.5. So, if anybody doesn't know, I'm Naomi. This is Kira. And we're in Kira's house today on a Sunday afternoon. How's your weekend been? Good?
The weekend has been relatively chill in comparison to
how you normally are. Yeah.
It's been a big week. It's been a big couple of weeks for both of us. So getting together like this is just, it fills our cup.
Just does fill our cup. Like that.
And it resets us.
Yeah, it does reset us. And we like to do it. Bella's asked me today why we didn't you don't have to go together and in person. I was like, yes, thank you. I'm aware of that.
Apart from the fact that we're not fully up on IT, but
not on streaming anyway.
No. But so it gives us a chance to get together. But I like to be together.
Yeah. Because I think we vibe better when we're in person.
Yeah, well, it's not like you just got here and sat down and we've done this. We've made a cup of tea, we've had cookies, we've had a chat, we've exchanged some beautiful gifts to each other.
Because we're just wonderful people.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start, shall we? So this is on divination this week. As witches, I suppose you could say divination is one of the biggest parts of the practices. It's certainly quite an essential part, I would say.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to do it. But every type of witchcraft or practice of the craft involves some sort of divination. Yeah. Whether it's your regular sort of mainstream traditional type stuff or something completely different, it does involve some sort of divination. So do you want to read out your definition of divination? So divination can mean different things to different people. It's probably good to have an overview of what it means in general.
So I looked up both Merriam-Webster and the Oxford Dictionary. Merriam-Webster basically states that divination is the art or practice that seeks to foresee or foretell future events or discover hidden knowledge, usually by the interpretation of omens or by the aid of supernatural powers or unusual insight, intuitive perception. And the Oxford Dictionary classes divination as divining, foretelling future events or discovering hidden knowledge. And then that led me to look up the word divine, which was underneath divination, which is of, from, or like God or a god, or to discover or learn about future events by what are alleged to be magical means or by inspiration or guessing. Now, some of that sat well with me and some of it didn't.
Yeah.
Because to me, that definition kind of makes it feel like the old fortune tellers that you would have seen in movies. The gypsies in their little huts with their crystal ball. Yeah. And they basically get a bad rap.
And I think that's also what people assume divination is.
Yeah. But it's not. To me, anyway. Divination to me is, and we chatted about this in the last recording that we did, but divination to me is connecting to...
So yes, you were explaining what divination means to you.
So divination to me is more connecting to the spiritual realm and your spirit guides and the etheric web and the energies that are around you. Not necessarily to foretell the future, it can give you an idea of what may come up. But everybody has their own divine choices.
Yes, they do, yeah.
And so to me, the future is never fully written, because even if you do tarot or oracle or tea leaf reading or whatever, and it gives you a guide as to what may come up, you still have a choice around that.
Yeah.
And you can still decide that that's not the path that you want to go down and choose a different path.
Yep.
Make different choices, different decisions, all of that. So to me, it's definitely not woo-woo, airy-fairy, a gypsy lady in a hut with her crystal ball. It's
Sometimes it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it's more tapping into your own intuition.
Yes, it is.
You know, you've got the answers within. Divination is just using tools to help you tap into that and get guidance from the tools that you use, from the spiritual beings and universal energies around you to give you guidance along whatever path you choose.
It's a good definition of it. And that's what it means to you, right?
Yeah.
So,
but that's not necessarily what it means to everybody else.
No. And I do agree with you that fortune tellers do get a bad rep. And I think that's where everybody, certainly people who maybe aren't knowledgeable about the craft, or maybe just starting out, people assume divination is, they just immediately think about the crystal ball and the lady with the clittery clatter headband that she wears.
Who's just there to steal your money.
They look so cool though. They look pretty witchy. Yeah. So yes, I agree. Divination, I don't actually like the way the dictionary describes it, because to me, I don't essentially like the word supernatural. Mm-hmm. That to me is like, I'm just not sure really where that came from. It should really be changed.
But I don't like the phrase fortune telling either.
Yeah, I don't like foretelling future events. I don't like that word, and I don't like the word supernatural. So I don't think that doesn't sit with me in terms of how I see divination. So yes, divination is the practice of intuitive insight and seeking guidance, but I see divination as a direct line to spirit, as a direct line to cosmic energy, or a direct line to other people's energy. That's how I see it. But I believe whether you're directly connecting to spirit or directly connecting to the person in front of you, if you're divining for them or whatever, I still believe that energy is connected to the cosmic energy to fuel or sort of guide that energy into what it is that you're reading, or casting, whatever. So yes, that's how I see it too. It's a very spiritual thing for me, and because I'm a massive divination person and I practice all the time with divination and I love it and I use all different forms of it, that it's, to me, I'm always speaking with spirit. It's an open, as soon as I start on divination, it's a sign to me and a sign to my spirit guides that I'm open for communication. Bring it. I'm like, bring it to me, guys.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it, but some people might not like the way it sits with spirit, which is fine. You can call it energy, right? You can say it connects you to energy, and that can be energy around you. It can be energy in the earth. It can be energy. And as a result of that, it gives you insight and guidance about possibly future paths, or if you're divining for a particular reason, like a job or, whatever, it can give you guidance on that, or essentially, just help you figure out what it is you're trying to, because sometimes we think, oh, I don't know, but I actually don't believe that we do not. Like when you say, I'm not sure if that's the right path for me, and you get really conflicted. I actually believe that you do know, but your ego has taken over and you're completely conflicted. I believe if you can settle your mind and you can sit in meditation, or you can be still, the answer is actually there. So, but that's really hard to do, right? And everyone has busy lives and it just doesn't work that way. So what I believe is spirit or divination can actually, that's what it does for you. It can help you understand that decision. So in a sense, you could say it doesn't have any spiritual energy involved. So what I'm trying to say is that's how it can be for other people. It's tapping into deeper into yourself, and giving you a more guided, intuitive answer, or an answer that you already know, but you just can't. It sort of takes ego out of it.
So can you explain for people who don't understand what ego is?
Ego is your physical, material self. So you have your spiritual self and you have your ego self. And your ego self is like your alter ego that is constantly. So when you do spiritual anything, you are essentially moving yourself into a different frequency. So anytime I do spiritual energy, or anytime I'm working with spirit, or anytime I'm doing any sort of witchcraft or practice of any kind, because I'm putting myself in that frame of mind, I am immediately elevating myself, so to speak, in frequency. Your ego self is your normal, mundane, everyday living. So it's not like this evil alter ego self. It's just the mundane you that brings you back down to earth. It's the logical side. It's the rational side. It's the skeptical side. And the problem with separating the two, which is really, really hard to do, or sometimes you can't even really separate it. You just have to know when to switch into something else and switch back into something else. Ego is there all the time. So when you're in a spiritual space, ego can constantly jump in and alter that spiritual thinking so that the messages that you are trying to get end up getting sort of confused, and they end up not quite accurate, I guess. That saying that, you still can get a good message. It's just that what Matt Devon said in this book, which is, it's good to be skeptical, but don't let it rob you of a magical experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's good to be skeptical, but don't let it rob you of a magical experience.
So that's really what it is. It's like ego tries to rob you of that magical experience because it's being skeptical all the time. So if you're immediately thinking, oh, I think that's to do with my work that I'm currently in, my job role, and then ego jumps in and goes, no, it's not. And you're like, oh my God, no, maybe it's not actually. And then you start going, oh no, actually, okay, maybe it's not. Maybe actually, I don't know what it is. Ego's already jumped in, and it's already, and when ego jumps in, it immediately takes you out of your higher frequency. So you can't be in a higher frequency or in a spiritual frequency place and have ego present, because ego doesn't exist on that level. It exists on a lower level. So if ego has jumped in, essentially what you need to do is realign yourself again with spirit, or reconnect with spirit again. That it is not a black and white answer, but I think that sort of explains it.
Yeah, and I think another great way to think of it is when you're in meditation, when you're sitting meditating.
Yes, it's a good one.
And you know, usually when you're meditating, if you're new to it, you focus on your breathing, your breath in and your breath out, and then the sensation of that breath in your nostrils and going down into your belly and back out again. And that kind of puts you into that spiritual state.
Yep.
And then you get those crazy little thoughts, niggly things that come in.
Yeah, like you need to do the washing, and
yeah, I forgot to put the dishwasher on.
What are you going to cook for dinner tonight?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. To me, that's your ego coming in and taking you out of that higher spiritual
to think
space.
about mundane things that in your everyday life, right? To say, you don't have time for this. What are you doing? Like, get back to work. Get back to work.
Yeah. And I think the more you practice, so obviously the more you practice with meditation, the easier it is to let ego come and go. I think of it as like little clouds of thought bubbles come in and go. And it's the same with when you're doing divination or anything like that. You've got to capture that first thought that you have before those clouds come in and kind of cloud what you're thinking. You can switch back to.
Yeah, that's a really nice analogy. Yeah. So it's not simple. It does take a lot of practice, and it takes continual practice. It's not something you can just practice and go, oh, I've got it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It takes regular practice, and the more you do it, the easier it is to reconnect into spirit, and the easier it is to realign yourself, and the easier it is to recognize ego. So that's a big one too. Sometimes you can't even recognize the ego's present, and it's like you're not even in the spiritual realm yet. You're still on the same frequency.
Yeah.
But you just have to practice. Don't let it stop you. And if ego does jump in and you go, oh no, I've lost it now, I don't know what I was thinking. That's okay. That happens all the time, even to experienced readers. Just realign yourself. How do you realign yourself? Like Kira says, meditation is an amazing practice to do to help you get into that headspace. Breath immediately connects us to spirit. When we take deep breaths and we think about the rhythm of the breath, and all we can think about is the breath, that helps. That moves us into like an alpha or a theta brainwave. Having spiritual objects around us can help. Sometimes the envisionment of spirit, so I envision it as a triangle. So it's a golden triangle for me, and the gold, it's peaked to spirit. And I'm one of those points in the triangle, or two of the points. If I'm reading for somebody else, it's spirit, me, and the person, or it's spirit, me, and still myself, and it's just one line of connection.
Yeah.
So if I feel like I've jumped out of that space, I re-envision the spiritual triangle again. Or you can do it anyway, right? You can do it as a tree or one line, a single line to spirit or whatever.
I find scent to be a very big thing for me. So quite often when I'm doing divination work, I'll light a candle, and I have certain scents of candles or essential oils, depending on what I'm doing. Like sometimes I have very grounding smells. If I'm working on sort of self-love, I have, rose, and or if I'm working on calming, I'll use lavender or something like that.
Yeah, think about your six senses. That's what it's all about, and it's different for everybody. Like some people might really put them in a spiritual space. Objects can put people in a spiritual space if they feel that sort of empathic sort of energy towards objects and psychometry and things like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. So the best way to do it is to practice. And then as you're practicing, start incorporating different things that might help you get into that particular. So if you see an object, like in witchcraft, we call these keys. So when we see, say, an object, it could be a cast iron cauldron, it could be a wand, it could be a pentacle sort of ornament of some sort. If we see sort of objects and we're drawn to them spiritually and we think, oh, I just really love that, or I love the shape of that, like I want to put that on my altar, that is a key. So that's what's called a personal key to you. And you should be encouraging yourself to seek out those keys and to listen to your intuition or why you're drawn to it. And you should definitely pick them up, because what they do is they provide spiritual connection. So when you have those things out on your altar, looking at them can put you into a spiritual space. Sitting in that space with those things around you can put you in that spiritual space. So it's really important. And scent is a key, right? Certain scents that you think, oh, I just love that smell. I think of cosmic energy or like meditation when I smell it. Those are keys. Those are personal keys for you. So that's the best way to actually get into a headspace of being in that sort of mindset of divination. Again, you don't always have to do that. None of us have time. But again, with practice, you'll be able to switch into those things without those things, or you can have them. So I can switch in and out of it without them, but I also love having them. So I don't always light a candle when I do divination, especially in the morning when I'm just drinking my tea and I have to do a quick card read before I go to work. But I do in the evenings if I'm doing spell work, I'm doing something more substantial, I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. So what are your keys? Nate, what's a key? So scent is a key to you. Do you have one other key that you think puts you in that sort of headspace?
I'm trying to think what I have on my... So I've got, like, you can see behind... That's my altar up there with all of my stuff. And then I have a desk that has, like, I pull things down from my main altar depending on what I'm doing. So at the moment I have a little wooden card holder. So I'll draw just a quick card, and we'll go through that in a bit. Just to kind of get me to focus on something specifically. Scent is a big thing for me. I have a statue of Bridget beside my desk, and she's always there.
Yeah, so those are spiritual.
Yeah, and then in my room I've got another one, and I've got a statue of a nymph. Yeah. So I've got statues to. This is my space, and this is who I'm with, and I guess I kind of have like a bit of a conversation with them.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
Kind of draws me into that space.
That draws you into that space. So those are keys to you. And those items are things you're drawn to, whether it's Celtic energy and they can be whatever, right? They can be parts of your soul that are part of past lives, or maybe your ancestry takes you to Scotland or takes you to Ireland or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you're drawn to, just stick with that and allow yourself. You don't have to understand it straight away. Just allow yourself to be drawn to it and think, okay, I don't know why I'm drawn to this sort of era, but I'm going to start collecting little things here and there when I like them and just keep them in your space.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. It's as simple as that.
What are some keys that you like to use?
I have a ton of keys, but just because I have an entire witch room, I never always had one, by the way. You don't have to have one. It's just because we built a house and I had a room specifically made for my witch stuff. So I have keys all around me, but imagery, I'm a very visual person. So to me, pictures are a big visions, or, images are a big visual spiritual practice for me. So I have a picture of like a mage sitting above my altar. I have a picture of one of my favorite tarot decks, the Death card by Adi Mayoko. I have the pan and the witches dancing around the fire. I have the angel in the garden. I have lots of like pictures on my wall that put me in that space. So I would say pictures are probably my most one. Scent, not always. I think that's because I have allergies. So I do love scent and I always light a candle, but it wouldn't be one that I like a candle. It's the candle, not necessarily the scent.
Yeah.
And I think that's because a lot of stuff makes me sneeze. So I have to have like certain scents. And maybe crystals are a big one. I've got a lot of crystals and certain ornaments. Yeah. So I have like, I'm trying to think what's some of my faves. I'm not sure. My cards actually, because I have all my divination sitting around my altar. So that to me, as soon as I look at it, puts me in it. But I would say, yeah, now that I'm really thinking about it, which I never thought about before, I would say the pictures on my wall are the most to me because I sit and look at them.
Yeah. Your room in itself, though, like I find even when I'm at your house and as soon as I step onto that carpet, I almost feel like I'm transported to another place.
Yeah, so you feel spiritual in there.
Yeah. Even if we're not necessarily doing divination or, often when I come to see you, we just go and sit and have a cup of tea in there.
Yeah.
But you can just feel the energy shift as soon as you step foot onto that carpet.
I try to keep all negative energy out of there too.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose at the same time too, you're saging it all the time or you're spraying. I say scent doesn't necessarily put me in a spiritual place. That's actually a lie. Florida water does.
Oh, really?
I love my Florida water that I made. I absolutely love the smell.
I don't think I've ever.
You have, because I put it on you.
Put it on my hands before when we've done spell work.
Yeah. So but that's not really a scent from a candle. So incense, not particularly, and scents of candles, not particularly. But if I make up my own potions, yes, because I specifically choose scents that I like and puts me in a different headspace, as well as their corresponding spiritual energy. So that is very different. But I think, again, it already has spiritual energy in it because you're making it in a spiritual ritual. Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully that wasn't too complicated. It is a bit of a complex topic, I guess. So
it is, and you can just go on and on and on and on and on. And really, we're just giving you a bit of insight into what we use and what we like to have around us, and maybe yours is different, and feel free to share.
Think about your keys. Colors can do it too.
Yeah.
I'm a very dark colored person, so I don't like anything bright colored. If my witch room was really brightly colored, I would just hate it. It has to be dark colors, dark purples, dark reds, dark blues, blacks, grays.
Yeah.
Even if the walls were painted white, I wouldn't like it.
No. But your walls are a beautiful color.
They're just a dark gray color. So
almost like the color of your shirt.
Yeah, it's like a purpley
gray.
Your
shirt looks black in the video, but
it's actually got a moonchild on the back. It's very retro.
It is quite retro.
Yeah, it is quite retro. So this episode is going to be on cards, because cards are very mainstream now for divination, and tarot tube is massive. And you can get them anywhere.
Big W, you can get them in bookstores, Amazon. You can back them on Kickstarter. You can get
everything.
Indie decks direct from creators. Like, you can find them anywhere, and for whatever taste as well.
Yes, very true. So before we start, we've just picked up a selection each. to give you an idea of how we choose cards and what we pair them with and why we like them and why they work so well. And before so when I say cards, they're 3 types. They're mainly 2 types, which is Tarot and Oracle, and the third would be Lenormand. And we talk about indie decks and mass market. So do you want to explain indie and mass market?
So mass market are basically anything that's picked up by a publishing company. So there's Llewellyn, Hay House, what's that, Blue?
Rockpool.
Yeah.
Blue Angel, yeah.
Blue Angel, Rockpool, all the big,
They're the big
publishing
big ones.
companies will generally pick up a mass market deck, and they're the ones that you can buy in your mainstream stores,
Yes.
on Amazon, things like that. Indie decks are ones that are usually self-published by the creator, which means they have full autonomy over what is included, how they look, the stock that they're used on, what their guidebooks look like, if it's Oracle, how many cards they have, and all that sort of stuff.
It's all a bit more expensive too.
Yeah, they're usually more expensive because they have been self-published, and usually harder to get a hold of. And quite often they will be printed in a run, and then that's pretty much it. Once they're out of print, they usually don't come back into print. So if you ever see indie decks that you really like, it's a good idea to pick them up. Otherwise, you might find it very difficult to get.
The only other time they might do it is a pre-order, because they just don't have the money to stock vast amounts of.
And usually
decks.
They don't have the space either.
No.
Like, it would be like us having our own deck and just having our garage to.
And how would you pick up an indie deck?
Well, it would be like a, what do you call it? Kickstarter, or no, I was thinking of like festivals where people have their own little stalls, marketplaces, things like that. So we got the Joe Bird Art
and that was
tarot deck that we showed on a couple of episodes ago. Word of mouth. If you follow anybody on YouTube, quite often
pre-orders. It's just right. Instagram. Sometimes they just do a pre-order from their Instagram. They don't even put it on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or Indiegogo. I don't use it. Oh, that's like a secondary one to Kickstarter. But I don't tend to use that one. I don't actually really go onto it. I have been onto it before, but anyway. So that's the story. So they are more expensive, but then you have to think as well that you're supporting the creator and you're supporting their work of art into the world. And if you really like it, to me, as long as it's not going to break the bank, the cost doesn't come into it that much, but you should still be, what's the word? Not careful, but responsible, which I sometimes
responsible spending. Is that what you're trying to say?
Responsible spending is what I was trying to say, yes.
Try not to have FOMO either.
I try not to have FOMO.
Biggest FOMO person here. And
I'm terrible.
I'm
trying to work on it though.
I feel like it's rubbing off on me a little bit.
It is rubbing off on you. We're not very good together.
No, but I also find too when I watch like Lisa's.
I have terrible FOMO when I watch her because I'm like, I'm like immediately just putting it into Google.
Googling while we're watching. What is she? Where is it?
So.
But it's good to see other people's opinions on different decks and stuff as well.
And that's the other thing too. If you're not sure where to start, just literally go onto TarotTube, which is YouTube, search tarot decks, search creators, search reviews of decks, and just watch them. And you will start to see things that maybe catch your eye or that you'd like the look of, because the art style is just as important as the card itself. Not all tarot decks read the same and that sort of thing. And
it's good to hear other people talk about it, because it makes you think about things that you wouldn't necessarily have thought about.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Like to me, it's like the Hanged Man. You're looking at something from a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And sometimes as well, even though I've had the deck for a while, if Lisa does a review on it or a walkthrough, I watch it again, and because I like to know her take on it. And then there's certain cards that she'll say, and I'm like, oh my God, it so does say that.
Yeah.
Such a good keyword. So, I'll show Tarot and Oracle. So will Kira. I have many decks of both. I never use Oracle. rarely use Oracle on its own. I'm a tarot person all the way, and I use tarot in conjunction with Oracle, which means if I'm doing it with Oracle, it's only usually one card that I pick, or I might have two Oracle decks that match with the same deck, and I'll do one card each, but I don't usually pick more than that. And then tarot is a spread of at least, I would say 5 cards minimum for me. Sometimes I do 3, but I don't really. So anyway, that's beside the point. Tarot is a 78 card deck that follows a structure. It's been around since the 1400s. Said to be originated in Italy, but that's also under debate. And it follows a set structure. So 22 majors, 56 minors. We don't have time to go into it in full. Research it if you're unsure of what it means. But the majors are basically major spiritual energy, and the minors are your mundane. And the majors follow a certain pattern of full right the way through to the world, and the minors are like a playing card deck. They go from ace to 2. So ace is technically 1, but it goes ace and then 2, 3, 4, and it goes all the way up to 10. And then much like the Joker and the King and Queens, it goes page, knight, king, or queen, and then king, and they're the court cards. So page, knight, queen, king are court cards. They mean different things too. It's not complicated to learn, but it's
a lot to learn.
It's a lot to learn. But don't be discouraged if you are learning it, because sometimes it takes you years to eventually learn it. Well, I say learn it, but you're always learning it. So once you know, you may know it, but I still constantly am learning things about the tarot and learning different ways to read them and different keywords to put with them, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's what tarot is. Oracle is a set of regular, I suppose, what would you call an oracle? How would you explain an oracle? Like, it's a set of, it doesn't follow a set structure like tarot does, but it could follow a structure that the creator created.
Yeah. So it's very individual depending on the creator.
Yes.
It can have any number of cards in it. Normally it doesn't have as many as tarot.
No, normally it's around 40, right?
Yeah,
44.
But it can be anything from 28 cards up to 60.
Yeah.
It just really depends on the creator and what they're trying to achieve with that deck and what have you. Like, I think I have an animal deck that you gave me that has probably about 70 cards in it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a guidebook with it. So it's not a deck that I pull out a lot, because there are some animals in there that I just have no idea what they are.
Oh, I know what
you know,
that
the different
is.
types of birds, the round one.
That was yeah.
But I do love it. Like, I do love the some of the animal cards in it and how they look and the artwork and whatnot. So anyway,
I'm not big on animal decks. And in fact, I don't even know if I maybe have 1 or 2, and I rarely use them. I'm just not that. I don't feel like I'm connected to that in that sense. I always prefer to pick something else beforehand. Anyway, so I'll just go into the deck. So this is a Studio Artemy deck. It's called the Fortuna Opal. So Studio Artemy, she's done several decks, and it's this type of style. Is that probably better like that? Yeah. And it's very pippish. Pippish means not illustrated pips, so minors. So I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I actually I can read pip decks or illustrated, doesn't matter. So that was a bit confusing how I said that. Basically, tarot follows usually the Rider-Waite or the Thoth tarot, and it usually has illustrated pip or illustrated minor arcana, which means there's an illustration or a scene that is happening in each card. If it's a pip deck, it means it is a non-illustrated minor arcana, which means that it just has, like, 8 of Pentacles would just have 8 pentacles on it and nothing else. It can sometimes give you little clues, like they can add vines or different things to give you a clue, but normally, so hers is very pippish. In other words, this is what the 10 of Swords, well, it's the 10 of Swords, but it's the 10 of Keys. She calls it keys. And it's just the keys, nothing else, right? But that is overwhelm. That's my keyword for it. So this is the pip deck of Studio Artemy. I have several of her decks, but I love this opal one because it's got this holographic foiling. And
it's very pretty, very plain,
but
very pretty.
Yeah. Look at Queen of Keys. That's a court card. Seeker, that's the Fool. You can see how that would be the fool, right?
Yeah.
Because it's going off on a journey, seeker. So anyway, so this is a really good one. I compare this with quite a lot of things because it is pippish and because of the color saturation in it. So I pair it with both of these because I feel like these two just go together. I can pair it with one of them or two. This is the Nirvana Oracle by Jennifer Sodini. So this is mass market. So I should have said this is indie. So if you want this, you have to go to Studio Artemis website. This is mass market, meaning you can get it off Amazon. And it's called the Nirvana Oracle. But I love the imagery and I really like the keywords. If a keyword is not, if a deck has good imagery but crappy keywords, I wouldn't pick it up. Sort of has to be both. So this goes really well with this. So yeah, you can do it like this. So can we see that?
Yeah.
Oh, wrong side. That's okay. We can put it together later.
Yeah.
So it doesn't actually mirror each other. The saturation is similar, but there's absolutely no holographic foiling on this. But because it's pips, it's a pippish deck, it lends itself well to and it reads really nicely together. Reading has to be really important. Some decks can look good together, but when you read them together, they don't really mirror up. So this is the Animal Apothecary, and this is by Cara Elizabeth. I recently got this one in, but it's been around for ages. It's a mass market Oracle deck, but look at these keywords. Look at the turtle. I say I don't have an animal deck. This is one of my favorite ones. Look, small steps, big accomplishments, right? Sacred boundaries. Inner truth.
So it's an animal deck, but it's not an animal deck?
It's an animal deck, but it's like weird. Tame and attain. I got that the other day. You are more. So I really like this. And I actually think that it matches well with the Nirvana Tarot, or the Nirvana Oracle, sorry. So you could read these two oracles together. Oh, that's the same card.
They do go really well together, actually.
Right? Mask and victory. Just even reading the two keywords together. So this is inner conflict resolution and ecstasy. Don't they read nicely together?
Yeah, they do.
Gratitude and what? Better than you can imagine. They go really well together. And because they go well together, this goes really well with the pip deck as well. So pip decks should not be written off, as if you can read pips, because they go really well with pairings.
Yeah.
Okay, let's show one each. So that's my first one. So you go with yours.
I didn't bring any tarot, just because I read tarot, but not as much as Naomi. I've been reading Oracle a lot longer, and I guess because I like to use my own intuition a lot, and with tarot, it's harder to do that. I mean, you can, but it's like Naomi said, tarot is very structured and very, like each card has a specific meaning. You can read into that what you want, but it is very specific. So one of the Oracle decks that I like to use, and I've used it for a long time, is this one, Animal King Oracle.
Oh, yeah.
By Sarah Wilder.
So fun fact about Sarah, Kira.
Sarah is one of the co-creators of the Witches' Circles that we attend every full moon and new moon, so every fortnight.
And she's great. She's really funny and so straightforward, and I just dig her vibe.
So knowledgeable as well.
She's so knowledgeable. Yeah. She's what I don't know if she would classify herself as an astrology witch, but she's really intellectual.
Yeah. So this is, she has hand drawn all of the imagery on these cards as well herself. This is the, I'm pretty sure this is the original deck. I think you can get maybe a second edition now. It was mass market, but No, I think it is still available. Anyway, I've always had quite an affinity with animals. A lot of the time, animals will come to me in visions.
Yeah.
I'm quite a visionary person. And I just love that she has the animal and what it is. I mean, most of these animals I know anyway, but like I was saying about the other animal deck that I have, it doesn't tell you what they are. And there's quite a few different birds in there. And then it also has the keyword on them as well. But I just love the colors that she's used, the fact that they're simple, but they're busy at the same time.
Mm.
Now, I don't really do a lot of pairing because I usually use Oracle more than Tarot. But if I am pairing, I'll quite often use a little, just like a little,
Like an affirmation.
yeah, kind of. Or
I actually really like those type of affirmations. I've got the mermaid one, and I really enjoy the words
Yeah.
on it, the things she says.
Most of these are mass market as well. I don't even know what these are called because I don't know where I put boxes. But yeah, so these are quite simple. The word on this one is Earth Guide. Your sacred calling upon this planet is to simply love and be loved. And I just find that these pair really well with the animal oracle.
Oh, they do.
It just gives you something to think about.
Yep. Yeah, they do.
So yeah. And the animal for me this year is the frog. So on New Year's Day this year, we had quite a bit of rain. And out on my front porch, there was a little frog. If you look at my social media, you'll see a picture of it. And then last week when we were at Full Moon Circle, we were in the middle of a meditation. And there was nothing to do with frogs. But what kept coming up in my mind was, I'm a frog, I'm a frog, I'm a frog. And when I looked at the, because Sarah had one of her decks there, so when I had a quick look at it, the frog was leaning into your community to hold you up while you're going through some emotional stuff, which is what has been happening the last couple of weeks for me. So the frog is here to stay.
Yeah. Synchronicity. Looking for the signs. You don't even have to look for the signs. They just come.
They just come. They just come, and if you're open to them, you'll see them.
You'll see them. Yeah, correct. So my next one is, I have a lot of indie decks more than mass market. And I think that's just because I'm big on artistry and artists in general. So I'm following a lot of artists. Like my Instagram follows a ton of artists.
You're also very big on supporting.
Yeah, I am very big on supporting small businesses. And I would rather support a small business than mass market. That's not to say I don't have mass market decks. Of course I do. But I do enjoy the indie decks, the quality, the fact that it is the artist's vision fully. So this is the Reclaim Oracle. It's one of my favorite decks by Marion Kostonen, I think it's pronounced. She has a few decks. This one is one of her first ones. I have the Lilith Tarot as well. So this is Oracle. It's like a 99 card deck, so it's massive. But it's all about emotions. And I absolutely love it. I love the black and pink. Look at this, hate. Oh, it's just so good. Rage, right? Inhibition. Resilience. Look how good resilience is. Protection. So this is the deck that I actually have. Boredom. This is the deck that I have for my 12 cards, my 12 envelopes, because I have a difficult time recognizing emotion for various reasons. But I sort of shut myself off to a lot of things. So I feel very overwhelmed if I feel upset, and I sort of can't really cope with it. So I sort of blocked myself off to a lot of things, but I'm trying to reopen that because it's not actually good for me. Anyway, so I have the Reclaim Oracle, and I chose one every month to focus on for the month. But I don't know what it is because it's in my envelopes. So this month it was security, which was really actually so correct, and it's to do with my safety. So that was a really big one. And what I do is I just sort of sit with the card and I just maybe think of things that mean safety to me or mean security to me. And how does it feel if I feel safe? Like, how do I feel? And if I don't feel safe or I don't feel secure, how does that make me feel? So that's how I work on my emotions. Anyway, I sometimes just pick this on its own because it's just an amazing deck. Or I pair it, and I only ever pair it with this one, which is the Moon Void Tarot by Stephanie Capone. So this is a really old deck, actually. She's had this out years. And it's pink and black. And this is actually Stephanie here. So it follows Stephanie throughout the tarot journey. So she depicts herself in every single card. And because of that, it does follow the Rider-Waite structure in terms of the imagery, but it only depicts herself. And as a result of that, it's kind of a very good self-help deck, I suppose, because you can depict yourself as Stephanie throughout the cards. And because it's pink and black, it works really well with the Reclaim Oracle, but also because it does depict just a single person, I love pairing these two together. So these go really well together. So that's Anger and the Fool. This is the Lovers, I think. No, it's the Four of Wands with Humiliation. So they really are good readers together, because don't forget, I would only pick one of those cards and then I would pick several of these ones so I can see the journey in the tarot that I'm going through at the minute with the emotion that follows it. So I don't do this one all the time because I find it quite hard hitting. So I only do it occasionally, but it really works well. Doesn't it look really good together? It just really does read really well together.
I love that they're kind of opposite. This is very dark.
Yeah.
With it. Light
and
imagery.
This is white and pink mainly. Yeah. So that is the Moon Void Tarot and the Reclaim Oracle. So there's a really good one together. You're up next, Kieran.
Next. Quite often I like to pick a card as a theme for the day or for the week. Mm-hmm. So two that I use is Herbal Astrology.
I really like that. Last time you showed that, actually.
Now, I know nothing about astrology. I don't pretend to know anything about astrology. I am planning on having a little chat to Sarah about that. Look at that. This is a mass market. A lot of my decks are mass market, just because they're easier for me to get my hands on. But I just love the imagery in these.
The keywords are really good, though. Leadership, Lion's Mane leadership. Mugwort strength.
I love the artwork.
And it has the astrology sign, obviously, too. Kava Kava community.
But quite often
Calendula, purity. Oh, there's the sun sign. Yeah, which makes sense, right? At the top, I could hardly see that there. Yeah. There's the astrology sign.
Yeah. So quite often I will pull one of these cards. I will have a look in my, what would you call it? You know, that book that you put together when you were teaching me about witchcraft?
Oh, your astrology. Oh, like just your compendium, really.
Compendium, so I will look at what these flowers or herbs or whatever are good for in spell work and things like that.
The spiritual property of it.
Yeah. And just take that with me for the day or for the week, or I'll have it on my altar and I'll just try and connect to that spirit for whenever I'm divining or doing any spell work or anything like that. So that's one. The other one that I like to use, well, actually, I haven't used this one for a long time. This is actually one that Naomi gave me. That's
an indie deck.
Is it? Mm-hmm. This is the White Hair Wisdom, created by Phil and Jackie Lovesey. And it's a really cute little deck where it goes through the story of this hair. But it has really good keywords as well. So if you're looking for a keyword to focus on for the day or for the week, and I just love the artwork in this as well.
Yeah.
We've got Basque.
It's very storybook vibes.
Yeah. Add color. Ancestral wisdom. It's just different things to tap into. And little things like this too, I find help me remove my ego from stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like throughout the day, if I know that I've got this, sometimes I'll take a photo and I'll carry it with me rather than taking the actual card and, wrecking the card. Staying grounded and just look at it every now and then.
I can't reach it. That's all right. That's okay.
So this is a deck that I haven't used a lot, but it's one that I pulled out last week to take to Naomi's, and I'm going to start using it more. I'm going to call him Boris.
Boris, I love that. I love that. Okay, so next up, another indie deck. These are actually 3 indie decks, but one of them is mass market now. So this is my absolute favorite, one of my absolute favorite tarot decks. It's like stuck right in the middle. So I thought if I tried to pull it out, I might poke my shoulder out.
Just left that on the floor.
I was actually a lot further than you thought, right? So I thought, I'm going to wreck my shoulder trying to stretch. So
I just pushed my head into your side. Sorry.
it's okay. Okay. We slept in the same bed together when we had to stay over at the Beltane Festival. It's all good. There's no boundaries between me and Kara.
No. Sorry.
And that's the way we like it. So this is the Bought Tarot by Adi Miyako. Miyako, M-I-Y-A-K-O. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyway, I absolutely love this. I have a giant picture of the death card because she's just, her artwork's beautiful. I actually have many pieces of her artwork, but I don't have them all up in my house. So this is all watercolor. It's printed, or she's Asian American, Japanese, half Japanese, I think, and half American. And this is her tarot deck. So this is very sought after. She recently did a 2nd edition, which I have her 1st and 2nd editions. That's how much I love it, because she changed some of the cards in the 2nd edition.
Oh, yeah. And
I enjoy what she changed them to, but I also still love the original. So I have both. Anyway, so this is the Bought Tarot. And because it's watercolor and I love the artwork, I love Asian, I don't know, I love Asia. Sometimes I think, was I Japanese in another life? I'm not sure.
You like manga?
Yeah, but you don't have to, but I do love manga, but I love Japanese artwork. It's sort of I'm kind of obsessed with Japan. Anyway.
Look how beautiful that is.
Oh, so good. Strength. Right? If you can find the death card, find it, because that's the one I have a giant picture of. And
I'll find it
in my thing. Look at the devil card, though.
They're just stunning.
Oh, I mean, it's so good. And you have to get her book if you're getting it, because the book is amazing. Because it's not just Japanese artwork. It follows, the 4 suits are split into kingdoms. There's the death card. So I have that up in my room. I absolutely love this. And I think I love it so much because she has a quote that, well, it's her own quote, but it basically says that death does not discriminate. It takes prey and the hunter, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't it's not prejudice. And I really, really like that, because I sort of thought, it doesn't matter who you are or how much money or wealth you have or what your status is, because death takes everyone.
Yep.
So that's why I have that one up to remind me of that.
Stunning.
Anyway, so I pair it with 2 of these. So this is an indie deck, but it is mass market now. So this is Fenn's Inkwright, and it's the Seed and Sickle Oracle. So I absolutely love this one. I'm not a massive herb deck person, but I really enjoy this one. So I absolutely love Fenn's Inkwright's artwork. I think I have everything she's done. I've got her botanical books and everything. So I really, really love her. And I really enjoy these. So she pairs them with an animal usually. I'll say that, but that one doesn't have an animal, henbane, with the king there. And the write-up's really good. And the reason I love it so much, because I'm a big mythology person, and the book goes into a myth about the herb, as well as a message. And I just love that. So
Stunning.
these pair really well with the, look how well they pair.
They're beautiful.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be the same artwork. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the same style, although they should look good aesthetically together. But how they read together just is really important to me. So it has to look good aesthetically together. Like it just matches. So, and the story is very good together. And I also pair it with this one, which I got in recently. This is the Wandering Wonder Walker Oracle. Oh, now I can't remember. Oh no, it's here. I brought the book. I was like, oh, Wonder Walking. Yes, the Wonder Walking the Wonder Walking Oracle. It's a lot to say in one word, in one quick sentence. So this recently came out for me. I recently got this because it was quite delayed because I backed the diary as well on Kickstarter. So she had this out the first time years and years ago, and it sold out, and she never had it back in print. And then she did a second edition. Like I only got this on Friday. I absolutely love it. Everything about it is beautiful. The diary is beautiful. The guidebook is beautiful. But the imagery, again, I'm a big artist person anyway. I absolutely love it. It's just, so it's very thought-invoking. So you can look up the guidebook and get a message. And it's split into 4 different realms, a bit like Earth, Air, Fire, and Water, except it's wonder-seeking. So it's a very natural nature vibe deck. But you're supposed to allow your intuition to see what is in the cards. So it does have the card here, and it's a little hard to read, but that doesn't matter to me because you're looking at you're looking through the imagery into something else. Let's follow the rabbit. Fauna, fog. How good is fog? And we love this, right? Because so if you really look at this, if we look at this up close, you can see it as a lake with a landscape, and this is the reflection along the waterline. But it also, then whenever I showed Kira, she went, oh my God, it's like a giant tree that's fallen down. And I was like, so is a giant tree that's fallen. So it's a really, really great deck. And it's a really solid reader. So I love to pair this with this one because I feel like both work really well together. Look at that. How good do they work together?
Yeah.
But they also pair really well with the bottom tarot together. So lift up the bottom. See? So you can use, this is an example where I would use 2 oracle decks with a tarot. And I might just...
Look at that.
I know. My card's upside down, but it's okay. Like, so good, isn't it? That's also upside down. My decks are a mess at the minute.
Did you drop them?
I probably did. So
they are stunning.
Really stunning. So that's an example of where you can use 2 together. And the style is totally different between the 3. Now this is watercolor and the bottom tarot is watercolor, so that pairs nicely together. But the style's completely different. This is very landscape based. But I do find when you're pairing decks together, landscape or floral decks tend to work with a lot of tarot decks, just because they just seem to merge really well together. They sort of match very well together. So that is my one. This is my next one. I've only got one more after this.
Nice. One deck that I have used quite a lot, and I use this probably more so when I feel really lost, is the Cosmic Oracle by Nari Anastasia. And I can remember a friend of mine had a slightly larger copy, a larger deck, same deck but bigger. And I can remember probably when I first started, when I think back to when I started on this journey consciously, I was at her house. I was actually there for a massage one day, and I pulled a card, and it was transformation. I actually have it up on my bedroom wall.
Do you? The card?
Not the actual card. I took a photo of it from her, and then I actually went and got the deck myself. But I just love this deck because it brings me back and it helps me. There it is.
Oh, is that it?
That's transformation.
Wow.
It just helps me. And I think because I pulled that card, that was the first card I pulled from this deck, as I say. And that's when I consciously knew that I was on this journey. And it has been a massive transformation for me. Mm-hmm. So anytime I feel lost, I guess this is a key for me, this deck, this Oracle deck.
A big one.
Anytime I feel lost, this is the deck that I pull out.
Yep.
And I just, when I pull something from this deck, it just completely transforms me to another place.
It does.
And it just really helps me kind of.
It's very cosmic. I mean, I know it's called cosmic. Isn't it called cosmic energy?
Yeah.
Cosmic Oracle. It is very cosmic.
But it just makes me sit really deep with the card.
Yeah.
And I can pull one of these. This is one of those ones that I can pull.
Look at that one. I love that one. Walk Your Truth.
If I am just feeling really lost, really frazzled, there's 101 things going on, and I just need to bring myself back. This is the deck, and I literally can switch like that.
Yeah.
I just pull a card, and it just takes me straight back.
Yeah.
It's not a deck that I pull from all the time, because for me it is such a powerful deck.
Well, you don't need to, right?
No, I don't.
But you'll never get rid of it.
No. So that's a pretty powerful deck for me. Like, look at that. Self-worth.
Yeah, it's really good.
Nobody needs to see it except for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. The only other one that I really have to show is another little, kind of like this one.
Yeah, it's same. Yeah.
Again, there's no guidebook or anything with this. It's just like a little affirmation. And I guess I'm quite drawn to like fairies and nymphs and gnomes and.
Well, that's your Scottish and Irish.
Yeah. So I just love just picking one of these cards again, just if I want something for the day or just to kind of settle back in. Yeah.
These are my last ones. So this is not it is an indie deck. I was going to say, is it an indie deck? Well, yeah, I think it is. I don't think is he mass market? I don't think he is. I think you have to get it from a specific retail, like a retailer, or you have to get it from his website. So he's a really old time tarot creator, Robert Black. Forgot to lift the stuff out for this because I keep all my cards I just keep them open like this in like slots. I don't have them with the book or so I've got so many, I can't remember the names of the decks sometimes, but I think this is like 7 archetypes of something. 7. Look it up, Robert Black decks.
I'll be
you do it. So he is one of my absolute favorites as well, but like the Bottom Tarot, because I absolutely adore his artwork. Look at the 10 of Swords. I mean, right? Strength. So it's very alchemical based, but it's very sort of traditional style. And the imagery really takes center focus. Just type in Robert Black Tarot.
But my stupid.
Oh, your thing's not, it doesn't matter. Stupid. It's okay. 5 of Wands. Anyway, so this is very, he has a few decks out, and his deck, I have most of his decks, and they're all sort of alchemical. They all have a degree of alchemy in them. So if you've ever, he has books published and everything. So I've read his books. I love his Vampire Tower that he has as well. It's one of my faves. So that I don't tend to pair with many things, just because I like it to read it on its own. Because I find it really a solid reader, and I just sort of love it how it is on its own. I think the artwork is so pretty and beautiful that I don't sort of tend to pair it with anything. However, I have backed a deck on Kickstarter that I feel would pair with it really nicely.
What's his name?
We'll see. I thought it was Robert Black. It's not Richard Black. I have Richard Black's Black deck as well, but he's a different person. There you go. Robert Place, not Black. I always get the two mixed up. Sorry, Robert Place.
Oh, yeah.
It's Robert Place and then Richard Black, but I always have them. Anyway. See?
I thought my phone wasn't working, but it's actually because I wasn't.
It's just me. It's just me. Robert Place, not Black. Richard Black is a different tarot person. He's an artist, and he put out a called the Black Deck, and I love it too. But totally different style, different author. Anyway, so I pair it with, this is another Fez Inkwright deck. This came with the seed. Well, no, this is a separate indie deck of hers, but the original came with a deck called the Citadel, which this is the second edition. I have the first and the second edition. So it's all very red and black and rose gold foiling. But I think what I love about this is it's called the Citadel, so it depicts a character or an archetype of a character with keywords on it. So this is the patron, right? This is the forgotten.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, isn't that good? The puppeteer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The scholar. So I think what I really enjoy about this deck is it's a character-based deck on an imaginary world called the Citadel. And it just, will you hold that one up? Mm-hmm. It just works really well with anything character-based. And when I look at Robert Place's artwork, I feel like the character goes really well with it. So again, it's not a similar style at all, but I think because it's black and white and red, it has a very, I like the fact that the character depicts something that's maybe happening in the tarot. So I pair it with this. I pair this with a lot of things though, so it doesn't just stick essentially with this one. But that's, yeah, if you can pick up the Citadel. I find the Citadel works well with more traditional art, because when I think of traditional art, I think of a character like Merlin or Arthur or something. So for some reason, it just works really well together.
Backs of those too.
Yeah, I know. They're gorgeous,
so cool.
aren't they? There's the Citadel. Look at the red foiling. It's gorgeous.
I like the shape of those two.
Yeah. The other one came in, I think it was I want to say a hexagon shape. And then the only other one is, I suppose I wanted to say that I do, sometimes the holographic decks are great, the little oracles, because they pair with a lot of things, even though they're just, and I think it's because of the simplicity of the artwork. So this is a Paul Logan oracle deck called the Black Salt Oracle. I just got his Pink Sugar Oracle. It's the same deck, only in pink, because I love it. But I read these all intuitively. So I did read his guidebook, but some of the stuff made sense to me and some didn't. And I thought, okay, well, when I look at it, this is what it means, right? So headphones is like listen more carefully, right? Or there's something you're not picking up.
Really intent listening.
Yeah. Door knocker means visitation.
I love that.
Right?
I love the dragon on it.
Onion means there's more layers than you think. There's more to it, right? Mortal and pestle means creation or putting it together. Like there's more that needs to go into it. It's not just a one-off thing. What have we got here? Dumbbell. So I take that as strength you need to muster up. Bookmark means pause to me. Like, don't go any further. Kite, soaring high. Go for it. And heirloom to me is ancestry or family sort of related. Coin purse can be both things. So that to me can mean financial abundance or, maybe keep an eye on your finances. English ivy. So ivy to me means two things. It means protection, but it can also be restraint. So are you constrained somehow? Do you need to restrain yourself somehow, or do you need protecting, like a binding sort of thing? Charging cable, like charge, recharge. So they're really simple, and I can read them intuitively all on their own. So rice to me as well as abundance, because you throw rice at weddings.
I looked at his pink deck, but I didn't particularly like the look of it, which is why I didn't back it.
Yeah.
If it had been a black one like that, I would have definitely
Wishes. Yeah. Light. So lighter again, that's funny because that means two things to me. So lighter means burn it to the ground, right? It's a bit like a tower card. It's like just set fire to it. And it can also mean ignition. Like, get it done.
Let's
like
go.
A big spark. Yeah. So that is what I so I pair this with many things. It's just a solid oracle reader on its own. And I use it as both, really. I use it with tarot, I use it with oracle, I use it on its own. It just depends. But it's a really good one too. So that's a really good, I suppose that's all I've got lots, so I had to choose ones that would essentially go together, how I pair them. But I would say that when I am pairing decks, I pair them by their aesthetic look together. I pair them with how they read well together, because they can look good together but don't read well together. I pair them by the color palette sometimes, or the art style. I don't tend to like it if it's too samey. If the art style is too samey, I don't read with it great. And I find a deck that's quite different from the other deck can sometimes be it can either work really well or it can not work really well. So you kind of have to try things out.
Yeah.
That is how I pair. How I buy a deck is purely based on my keys. So it's purely based on my taste. What I like traditional art. So I have a lot of traditional art or antique type decks, Victorian style, artistry. I'm not a massive like mystical creature-y type, even though I love myth and mythology. I don't tend to buy decks. I don't like to read with that stuff. It's just stuff I like to know. And I like very light colors. Like I like a muted color palette, or I like pastel sort of watercolor palette. I don't tend to go for anything really bright and really mad color and that kind of stuff. So that's my style. So that's what I go for. But it still doesn't put me off buying something that might be very colorful.
Yeah.
And very, it just depends how it reads. And I have backed things sometimes before and thought, I don't know, it's not really my style. Like I backed the Craft Felt Tarot.
That's very colorful.
Really colorful, really childlike, but it is an absolutely amazing reader. And I wasn't sure whether to back it, and I sort of went, I'm just going to do it, I'll back it. And it was great. Sometimes they don't work out, right? Sometimes you back them and they come and then they don't speak to you at all whatsoever. And you think, okay.
And that's what we were talking about actually last time we recorded this episode, which you're not going to see. We were talking about, don't be afraid to pick up a deck. Like obviously with Kickstarter or indie or whatever, you generally can't touch the card. You can't see it. You kind of got to go on just visual what you can see online. Don't be afraid to back something, and when it comes, if it doesn't quite feel right, just set it aside for a bit.
Yes.
What does it say? Put it in purgatory?
Put it in purgatory or put it in timeout.
Just leave it there for a bit because
it's not speaking to you.
Yeah, and it just might not be the right time for you to touch that deck at this point in time.
Correct. Yeah.
Or you may have bought it to pair with something specifically, and when you get it, it doesn't actually work well with that deck or whatever. Just don't
be too hasty. Yeah, don't be too hasty. And a perfect example of that is I had the Moon Void Tarot and I liked it at the start and then I didn't like it. And I think it's because it depicted just one person throughout the entire deck. And I put it in purgatory for about 2 years, and that was because I was moving. So I had stuff in boxes, and it was in my to sell pile because I was like, I'm just going to get rid of this one. But then I got the Reclaim Oracle in that, and it works so well with it. I was like, oh my God, it just needed a pairing. So some decks just love being on their own, and some just need a pair. They just need a friend. So you're absolutely right. Don't always write it off, but also don't choose blindly. Like, look at if you're not somewhere that you can go to your local store and look through decks, which often you can't anyway because they're sealed.
Quite often they don't have them open.
Look at the reviews online. Look at walkthroughs.
Yeah, go to
look at the images
and just put in the title of that deck that you want to look at. Someone somewhere may have done a walkthrough, and usually a walkthrough is basically where they go through every single card. They go through what the box is like, and they review what the box is like, and then they'll review what the guidebook is like, and how thick it is, and how much information does it have, pictures in it. Then they'll go through the cards, like what's the stock like, what's the flexibility, all that sort of stuff. And then they'll individually walk through every single card.
Yep.
Sometimes they'll tell you bits and pieces about them. Sometimes they won't. And it's just a great opportunity to see exactly what is in that deck.
What do you get for your money?
Things like Kickstarter, though, you generally have to take a chance, because all you can go by is the little clip that they give you and the snippets of what they're hoping that deck will be like.
But you can go to their Instagram, right? And you can see the process of them making it, how long it's been in production. Sometimes they give prototype decks out to tarot tubers.
Yeah.
And then those prototypes are shown as a walkthrough to help sort of like build momentum for the campaign. So that can sometimes happen. But again, I can like a deck. I have liked a deck. It doesn't happen very often, but I have liked a deck, backed it, and it's came, and I've gone, oh no, this is not working for me at all. So, and that's okay. Don't be discouraged if that happens, because it does happen. And then there's times when you can get a deck and think, I'm just not really sure.
Yeah.
And then it comes and you're like, that's a really good deck.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just make sure that you're buying legitimate decks as well. Don't go on to these mass market sites and buy a deck that is not...
Look out for counterfeits.
That's the word I was looking for. Make sure you're buying reputable decks that have guidebooks with them, unless it's a Kickstarter and they specifically tell you that there's not going to be a guidebook with it, because when you buy those counterfeit decks, you're not supporting anybody except for the people who are counterfeiting the decks. The artists don't get anything for them. They don't get any royalties for them.
And the quality's crap.
Yeah.
The imagery's crap quality because they don't have the original images. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Try to be respectful of what you're buying. Be
respectful of the artist. Be respectful of the time that they've put into it. Rarely have I seen an indie deck creator put something up just because they don't make millions of money. Like if you see it and you think, oh, it's really expensive, it's like, but they're not millionaires.
No.
They're not ripping you off. That is the cost of the production for small batches.
Yeah.
And then their time and everything they put into it. That's why it is really important. So go mass market if you want to. That's the best way for cheaper decks. But if you can if you can support the creator, you absolutely should. So Kira's 100% right. And listen, Tarot and Oracle, it's littered with counterfeit decks.
Absolutely.
Just do your research. Do your research. Who is the illustrator? Who is the author? Type in the author's name. Go to their website or where they've said they have affiliated stores that sell their deck.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's pretty much brought us to the end of Tarot and Oracle. As Naomi said at the start of this, we want to go a bit more into divination. There is so much more that we can talk about, but we don't want to do it all in one. So next time we're going to talk about other types of divination.
Yes.
One thing I do want to show, though, Naomi gave me a gift today. How gorgeous is this little block of gold?
It's a block of gold, literally.
So this is a campaign that Naomi backed on Kickstarter. These are runes on here. So next time when we are talking about divination, we'll go into runes, what they are, what they mean, where they've come from. I don't know how to use this yet.
Oh, and just look at the back, right? Look at the look. I mean,
I was saying
literally
Naomi,
a block
I
of
literally
gold.
feel like I've won the lottery.
It's like
It's just so beautiful, and it came
by
in
Cocarina.
a beautiful
Cosmic
luxe
Whisker.
bag. So we'll be going more into that. We'll be talking about other types of divination. So
I would say that the other stuff we're going to do next will be more witchy. So
Yeah.
tarot tube can be for tarot and oracle can be for everybody. You don't have to be practicing witch to obviously use it. It's very open. But I would say the other stuff, the other casting of runes and stuff is more witchy focused, I guess.
we're going to be showing you bits about tea leaf reading.
Oh,
I bought
mate.
some beautiful
Mate, look,
teacups for us.
excited about that.
So we'll be talking about tea leaf reading, signs and symbols,
Yep.
dowsing,
Yes.
pendulums,
Yep.
all of that. That'll be in the next
Yes.
episode, which will be in 1 or 2 weeks, whenever we can get
Yeah.
around to doing it. So if there's anything that you'd love us to cover, or just talk a little bit more about, or give you our take on it, let us know. We're always happy to delve into things that people want to
Also,
hear
I
about.
love learning something new. Like if somebody has a new, like, divination that I don't know about, I'm like, tell me more.
Yeah. So we'll go into dice casting or die
Oh, yeah.
casting,
Yeah.
which is a newish one for us. So we'll go into that next time as well.
Yes.
It's fun.
It is fun, yeah. It is really. We should do a dice casting. It's so good.
Yeah. So maybe next time we'll show some.
How we do it,
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah. We'll have a tea.
Yeah, but this
in
one
our
was just
teacup.
cards because cards are very mainstream and massive, and there's a lot in it. Not a lot of people do casting of actual runes, or dice or tea leaf reading, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's more on the witchier side. So we will do that on the next one. So I'm actually so excited about that one.
Me too.
So bring a cup with you. You can
Join
do
us
some
for
tea
some
leaf
tea.
reading. Join us for some teas. We'll
Yeah.
do some tea leaf reading. And you can actually, we're going to read our tea leaves together once because we're going to drink tea during it. So bring a cup.
As we do.
I mean, we do drink tea, but they're just not loose tea leaves.
But we will be for tea leaf reading. You actually need loose tea
Loose
leaves.
tea, yes. You can cut up a tea bag if you need to. Try to get loose tea, but if not, it's okay.
Yep. So anyway, we're going to love you and leave you.
Yep.
I
Have
wrote down
a wonderful, safe week or 2 weeks ahead.
I don't think I wrote it in here. I had a really cool little saying that I wrote down. I think it's in my other book though,
Oh,
which is just over there. Anyway, that'll be for next time.
yeah.
Until next time,
Yeah. Ciao.
stay magical.
Yeah. Oh, stay magical. I love that one.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.